In his desperation to justify sending federal troops into yet another American city, this time Portland, Trump issued this statement at the White House.
We're going to look at that. It was amazing. Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa. And yet the politicians who are petrified. Look, the politicians are afraid for their lives. That's the only reason that they say, like, there's nothing happening. And you've seen it. The place is burning down, and they pretend like there's nothing happening. So we'll take a look at the order. We haven't seen the order yet.
Now, first off, so as not to bury the lead here, let's take on Trump's claim that, quote, Portland is burning to the ground. Luckily for us, in the year 2025, we've got full use of the internet. So let's take a look at Portland to get an idea of what carnage is befalling that city. This was posted by U.S. Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon Sunday evening at ground zero of the supposed violence, right outside of Portland's ICE facility. And before we jump in, just to caution viewers that the following footage is not suitable for work, and you might want to turn your kids away. My only hope is that that once great city can rebuild, but judging from what you just saw, I obviously have some serious doubts that such a thing is even possible. So let's be clear about what's happening here. Trump is desperate for any pretext to act like a fascist dictator and send American troops into American cities to attack American citizens. And so the way he does that is by pretending, literally pretending, that mayhem and chaos have taken over Portland. In exactly the same way he pretended as much for Chicago and Los Angeles and DC, and using that lie as justification to sic our own military on our own citizens. Now, you'll notice in particular that he said this.
It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa.
That quote, there are insurrectionists all over the place. Now, clearly that's not true, but if you're wondering why he used that specific word, insurrectionist, it's because in court, he needs to satisfy one of three justifications to be able to deploy the military domestically. Those thresholds are an invasion by a foreign nation, an inability to execute the laws with the existing law enforcement authorities, and finally, a rebellion or insurrection. So he's playing make-believe right now in an effort to, manifest into reality his desire for there to actually be an insurrection so that he can retroactively justify his illegal troop deployment in Portland. Now, here's what's important about that. Trump has used that excuse, a rebellion or insurrection, in every city he's deployed the troops into. And in every city, judges ruled against him. Judge Breyer ruled against him in this bogus justification in California. Judge Emmergott, who Trump himself appointed, ruled against this bogus justification in Oregon. And of course, Trump is going to use the same justification in Chicago, which is all but assured to get the same reaction from judges there. So while Trump may try and use these very basic rhetorical schemes to trick his own supporters, it's not working in the courtrooms where it actually matters, where he actually needs evidence to back up his claims. Here's legal journalist Adam Klasfeld discussing how the federal judge in Oregon responded to Trump's lies about a rebellion to justify this troop deployment there.
A federal judge in Oregon who was appointed by Donald Trump blocked Trump's deployment of troops to Oregon, finding that the basis that Trump stated, one, was not made in good faith. And she said, and this is one of the most blistering quotes from this ruling, quote, the president's determination was simply untethered to the facts. And so if we want to take a bit of a step back here, this has been a live legal issue since Trump was sending troops to Los Angeles. And what we've been seeing is that courts are very, very deferential to anyone who's president of the United States and sends the troops, that the threshold is low, that the standard is a colorable basis. Now, one of Trump's own appointees has said that a colorable basis doesn't mean pulled out of whole cloth, that it's simply untethered to the facts, that she said. So this is, I should say, in the same district where the Ninth Circuit had overruled another judge's determination that Trump should not have sent the troops. So this is a judge who looked at that decision and said, well, this set of facts is different. Whatever evidence the Trump administration brought forward in California, it's even more of a stretch. It's simply untethered. And this is one of the most favorable draws that he could have gotten in Oregon.
Right. I mean, you said yourself, this is a judge who he himself appointed to the bench.
Absolutely. And she found that his rationale was untethered to the facts. And so that's why she blocked the deployment with this temporary restraining order.
Now, you might be wondering, why should I care about this? There are major implications as far as these troop deployments are concerned for our elections. As I've explained many times before, the real goal for Trump here is to both normalize Americans to the idea of troops in our cities and to give himself a legal framework to be able to do so that when the election rolls around and he wants to use the military to do his election bidding, he won't face any legal roadblocks to be able to do so. And let's be clear, this isn't some hysterical hypothesis. Donald Trump literally tried to seize the voting machines in Georgia in 2020. He ultimately wasn't successful because his DOJ, then led by Bill Barr, wasn't going to go along with this plan, but Trump doesn't have that problem now. Do you think that Pam Bondi is going to put up a fight? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino? These people are literally there because they are election deniers. So with no opposition from the law enforcement agencies, imagine what Donald Trump could do if he had boots on the ground to effectuate his plans, to seize voting machines in Democratic population centers like Milwaukee and Detroit and Philly and Atlanta. Do you think it would be possible for Democrats to win any elections in Wisconsin or Michigan or PA or Georgia if Donald Trump messes with the voting machines in those places? Not a chance. He knows that. That is why he tried to seize them last time. But whereas he didn't have boots on the ground then, he's trying to give himself a legal framework to be able to do so now. That is why these lawsuits in California, in Oregon, in Chicago are so important. That's why I'm focused on them relentlessly, because this is him trying to validate troop deployments. What happens in the Ninth Circuit case in California and in the trial court in Oregon quite literally could not be more important as we head toward November of 2026 and November of 2028, especially considering the president has already tried to interfere with our elections before. I spoke about that point with the Oregon Attorney General. Here's what he had to say.
And this is why it's so important. Everything you said is why it's so darn important that we have attorneys general across this country that are holding the line against a president who's trying to federalize the U.S. military against its own citizens. Incredibly important. It is a big line for this president to cross, and he's crossed over some real significant lines. Right now, we have politicians, frankly, from both parties, that are talking about gaming our electoral system to maintain control of our country and Congress. That's problematic. We should not be having those conversations in this country. We should have integrity in our elections. And as you pointed out, he's done a lot of other things to frankly game our electoral system. Incredibly bothersome. Was it last week we had the president and his appointees trying to influence the free press? There is not a Democrat or Republican in this country that does not agree with the fact that we must at all times have free press. You even had Senator Ted Cruz speaking out against the president and how dangerous this is. You have the hallmark of an effective democracy, an independent judiciary. You have the president attacking judges and our independent judiciary, which is one of the backstops. It is the co-equal branch of government against tyranny of the executive branch. So we're in an incredibly important time. I do feel heartened, right? We have gotten some positive judicial rulings, but you see this attack on our democracy coming on multiple fronts. And that's why it's so important to have attorneys general, governors, and all of our elected officials pushing back. It's so important for people in our community to let our elected officials know this is not okay. And it doesn't matter what party you're from. This is a democracy, and we have foundations, and we have values, and we have to uphold those.
So I hope that everybody recognizes just how dangerous these troop deployments are. Again, in anything resembling a sane world, the president sending troops into our own cities would be the biggest scandal in American history. But recognizing that this is also his pretext to be able to give himself tools to rig the next election should put on full display why we have to fight this with everything we've got. What does that look like? There are a few things in our effort to fight back. in California by approving the Prop 50 measure that'll be on the ballot this November. There is boycotting entities or institutions that capitulate to Trump, like what we saw against Disney amid the Jimmy Kimmel cancellation. There's supporting independent media that isn't both sidesing our descent into fascism that we're seeing right now. And by the way, if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, I'd very much appreciate you subscribing, which is and always will be 100% free. There is getting people in your circles involved and engaged. And I want to be clear about something here. Nobody is coming to save us. Robert Mueller is not swooping in. Prosecutors will not save us. Lawyers will not save us. Judges or Democratic members of Congress or senators or candidates or the DNC, none of those people are the solution here. The solution is everyone individually recognizing their agency and using it. Last election cycle, I said to find 1 to 2 people and make them your responsibility. Now I'm asking you to find 10. For every one of you watching this, there are 10 people who don't care about politics, who've checked out, who've succumbed to the feelings of despair or hopelessness or apathy. It is incumbent on all of us who do care to make inroads where we can. I know that might sound Pollyanna, but I am earnestly asking you to find people in your lives who recognize that either they've been conned by Trump and Republicans, or who wouldn't normally engage with politics, and get them engaged. The only way we win is if we grow this tent, but it's going to require all of us doing our part to grow it. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.